Hello everyone, I'm Randhir Kumar, Senior Trainer and Subject Matter Expert for Wireless Technology in Koenig Solution, New Delhi, India. Today my topic is Design for High Availability for Wireless Technology. So high availability in the sense of AP high availability as well as the controller high availability. So high availability is a very common topic across network. Talking about router switches also have some high availability data center and voice network everywhere. High availability, just we configure that if any point of time, if I have a failure with the primary devices, we should have some secondary options to follow, or we should have some another devices which can play a role for the existing device, and our network should be live all the time. So designing for high availability sessions, we can see here, we have two kind of high availability on the wireless network. We have, first of all, AP high availability. In AP high availability, you can see in this general tab that AP high availability is written as a primary controller, secondary controller, and tertiary controller. It means what? I can give 3 controller for the high availability for one access point. So we could have global high availability and we could have per AP high availability. So let's suppose AP1. So we can configure primary, secondary, and tertiary controller for this access point, so that if any one of the WLC, primary WLC fails, it will switch over to the secondary and tertiary controller. But what if, let's suppose I have 20 access point on the same controller, and if that controller fails, where these all 20 access point will move? For that, we have a global high availability that we can configure on the AP global option as a backup primary and backup secondary controller that we can configure for all the access point. So in this two way, we can configure high availability. AP controller discovery process for the high availability. Previous failover relied solely on discover mechanism, like how it will discover the controller. AP try all method to maximize discovery of controller. Second, when several controller have been discovered, AP chooses the best controller based on the configurations, master or first answer logic. So there are some different concepts how it has been chosen. Let's suppose I have discovered so many controller as a high availability, but which I will go for first. AP try to revert the primary if it is in this range. So for better efficiency, controllers should know one another. So the process is like, if you look back about the discovery process, it is layer 3 broadcast, AP configuration, DCP option 43, DNS. So we have a different options to discover a single controller. But generally, if it is failover, it will go to primary, secondary, and tertiary. Whoever the controller you will configure as a primary, secondary, and tertiary. Legacy failover AP process. AP exchanges keep live messages with controller every 30 seconds. When a keep live fails, AP sends 4 more messages at 3-second interval, like in total 42 seconds. If AP uses DNS to find another controller, DNS timeout is 10 seconds. And AP may take as long as 3 seconds to discover and join a new controller. So maximum total failover is 55 seconds if any WLC fails. That is configurable. We can configure these options too. So this is very good information. Legacy backup limitations. So in controller discovery, WLC LBAP name is used instead of IP address. Using IP address might be more sufficient in some scenarios. AP keep trying to discover controller that do not respond. Forgetting unreachable controller might be more sufficient. Failover. All AP are equal. Might be necessary to prioritize some access point if backup controller space is limited. So discovering that primary controller fails takes time. Reducing timer interval might be necessary. So primary and secondary controller configuration. Primary, secondary, and tertiary controller are configured AP per AP. Global configurations for all AP on a given controller might be more efficient. So this is not recommended that configuring controller for every access point. Some of the access point may be needed if something which is very important on the perspective, so we can configure this. Then we have failover enhancement, AP failover priority. So can you see here in the all AP details? So first of all, we need to go here on wireless, then we need to go on the access point, and then on single access point, can you see here, I have gone to the port 3B details and general credential interfaces. Then we have high availability option, primary controller, secondary controller, and tertiary controller. And then we have an option of AP failover priority, which is really very important. So I have already given primary controller, secondary controller, and tertiary controller. Then also I have a priority options given underneath low, medium, high, and critical, right? And here also we can like enable global AP failover priority. So how this will be managed? What does it mean by low, medium, high, and critical? Let's see how it is being explained here. Failover enhancement configure backup. So we can give name and IP address can be configured for backup WLC. So let's suppose I'm configuring this controller as a low, medium, high, or critical. So we can configure backup WLC and name and IP can be configured. Secondary and tertiary controller can be configured at controller global level or AP level. Global level enabled only if AP does not already have individual secondary and tertiary controller. So we can configure by the CLI command is given here, config advanced backup controller and backup secondary. So both options we have. We can go both primary, secondary, tertiary, or we can go with global primary and secondary controller to configure. But we need to enable it here, failover enhancement AP high availability values, which is very important. So backup WLC enhanced timer can be configured. So here we can configure that. Enhanced timers, like instead of being sent every 30-second, heartbeats can be configured to send other interval. It would be easier to detect easily and fast to whenever failover happens. Number of heartbeat lost before failover is also configurable, along with the timeout between the two heartbeats. So the commands are config advanced timer AP fast heartbeat local enable 5 or config advanced timer AP fast heartbeat HREP enable high. So for APs in local and HREP mode can be configured differently. So enhanced timers discovery request, again AP send discovery message to backup controller every 30 seconds. This interval can be increased or decreased by the command AP primary discovery timeout. Default interval is 120 seconds. So if a backup controller does not answer a discovery message after 120 seconds, try the next one. So this is how the data, which is really very important to understand here. And this is how we can configure so advanced timer. So can you see here how it is showing this advanced timers? So we can see what are the timers. So this command is very relevant to get. Then we have so advanced backup controller where it will give you information about HA means high availability and 2504A is the model number. Second backup WLC name, and this is in hex information as an IP address. So these are the informations that you can understand. AP fallback and load balancing consideration. So how AP will fall back? AP naturally load balance between controllers. When primary and backup controller are configured, AP can survive primary controller loss. So that's really important features here. AP fallback instruct AP to return to the primary when it is available. So AP fallback should be enabled except when the network links are unstable. So this is how we can configure high availability in case of global or in case of individual as a primary, secondary, tertiary, or global backup primary and backup secondary controller. It will helps when AP fails to communicate with the primary controller. And thanks for the time. Thanks for the watching my video. Coming soon for the next enhancement over fallback, high availability, or maybe from different topic. Thank you. Thanks for the time.